Hey, and welcome back! Today we're gonna upgrade the display on this old KORG M1R. The process is actually not that hard, as long as you buy a pre-assembled display. This one comes from Lux Music, and you can find the link in the description. You only need a plier, a cutter, some screwdrivers, and something to wrap up the cables. First off, we need to remove the rack ears, as well as 2 screws on either side and 2 at the back. And now we can take off the lid. Before removing the top screws, we need to flip it over and remove the bottom screws first. And the reason is, if you remove all the screws first, then the front panel will be loose and it's going to be hard to flip it over. Remember to remove the knobs first, and then you can gently remove the front panel cover. On the M1R, the left side can be a little bit tricky, so just be careful. Now it's time to remove the data cable and the power cable. Be sure to make a note of the orientation of the cable. Most cables come with an indentation or a peg, but if not, make sure you look at the marked wire. The display is kept in place with 2 smaller screws. And don't forget to remove the cable for the backlight. These connectors can sometimes be hard to get out. I find it useful to put my finger as a leverage point, making sure I don't rest on any important components, and then use the flat end of a knife or a screwdriver to pull the connector off. And we also need to remove the zip tie holding the cables together. Just be very careful so you don't cut any cables. And now we can gently remove the display with the cables. Just take your time, because the sharp edges of the aluminum frame can sometimes snag the cable. Alright, now it's time for the new display. Make sure you get the orientation right so you don't get an upside down display. Most displays come with the connectors on the same side as the original, so it's really simple. Fasten the display with the same screws you removed. And fasten the new data cable. With this cable you can see that the connector will only fit one way. And now it's time to test the display. And look at that, it works. This display comes with 2 controls, one for the backlight and one for the contrast. Since we removed the power cable, the original contrast knob will not work, so we have to do all the preparations now before we put the lid back on. Coil up the cables for the controls and secure them so that they don't short circuit any circuits on the board. And now you can gently put the front panel back in place. Some of these panels can be a little bit tricky, but as long as you're patient and take your time and align all the knobs and the LED diodes, it should be fairly easy to accomplish. And lastly, put all the screws back together with the lid and all the rack ears, and you're good to go. I hope you guys enjoyed this little tutorial on how to replace the M1R display. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching, and see you next time.